is Michelle Obama. You know, we get a little bit of entertainment before we get out of here. Is Michelle Obama. Yeah. She is fighting off rumors. She is fighting off rumors that she is getting divorced. So gone are the days where they just look at it and they say, you know what? We just gonna brush it off. It's not that really that big of a deal. We just gonna go ahead and do what we gonna do or whatever. Michelle Obama is now going on podcast. She's on a podcast tour, probably partly to promote her own podcast, and so she's creating visibility. She's doing her rounds, and she's basically fighting off divorce rumors and speculation between her and Obama.
Former First Lady Michelle Obama blasting rumors that her marriage is on the rocks, essentially, with the 61-year-old on this podcast with TV star Sophia Bush, Work in Progress it's called, saying she's making what she calls big girl decisions about her life and how she wants to spend her time.
This year, people were, they couldn't even fathom that I was making a choice for myself, that they had to assume that my husband and I are divorcing. This couldn't be a grown woman just making a set of decisions for herself, right?
Right.
Now, the former First Lady did not mention any specific events, but some of these tabloid rumors started to be fueled after her husband, Barack Obama, the former president, was seen attending some high-profile events, including former President Jimmy Carter's funeral, President Trump's inauguration, solo. Rahima Ellis is joining us now. What else did Michelle Obama say here?
She had a lot to say, and I think we probably have to preface it by this is a thoroughly modern former first couple, and they are all on social media. They are, in some ways,
What's the name of the podcast that she did it on?
Changing the culture of what we might think about.
Let me see something. Sophia Bush's podcast. What's the name of Work in Progress? All right.
Modern former first couple, and they are all on social media. They are, in some ways, they are changing the culture of what we might think about in terms of a first couple. And she's said that people have boxed her in for the most part, and she's trying to break out of that box. Take a listen.
That's what society does to us. We start actually finally going,
YouTube.
what am I doing? Who am I doing this for? And if it doesn't fit into the sort of stereotype of what people think we should do, then it gets labeled as something negative and horrible.
And she's not settling for that. She's branching out.
I've also noticed that she only does women's podcasts. I don't know if anybody noticed that. She went on this other podcast where she was talking, and she was talking about her children and the woes of being able to raise children inside of the White House. And all of this stuff, and most of the stuff that she talks about is drama filled. Oh my God, we had a problem. I didn't want my children to be raised in a White House. It took their kid life away. My husband, I didn't like it. My brother had to convince me to make sure that I supported my husband in his run for presidency. Oh my God, I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that my kid had to drive with Secret Service. Oh my God, I didn't like the fact that Obama was being loved by a bunch of other women that wanted to get with him. She didn't like it. She didn't like it. She didn't like it. She didn't like it. Right. And so now that she absolutely disrespected her husband, and I still think it was disrespect for her not to show up to the funeral with her husband. She was the only wife that didn't. She was the only woman that didn't show up to the inauguration with her husband. The only wife that didn't. The only wife that continues to be on a solo tour. The only wife that continues to do a bunch of other stuff. Listen, as a woman, when you get with a certain type of man, you have to play your role. You got a position to play. I hate to say it like that. Yes, oh my God, I got rich, Connie Harris. If you don't want that life, then you need to go and get you a regular, everyday guy. I can't stand women that complain. I hate complaining women that are privileged and blessed. Now, we all gonna complain about something, but nobody is going to feel sorry for you when you are always complaining. I see it happen from women all the time. And again, I'm going to introduce this on After Hours tonight, and I'm going to have one of my special guests come. Y'all don't know who it is. Y'all will never be able to guess it. Some people might be able to guess it if they was following me on TikTok last night. But listen. Women that complain about the successful men that they're talking to and that they are restricted from being independent and being able to do their thing and find their own identity. You don't have an identity. You are blessed to be married to who you are blessed to. Stop trying to be a modern woman. That is the thing that I cannot stand. Stop acting like it was better when you was broke. Stop acting like you was, oh my God, I have to drink tonight because I'm so stressed out and you don't understand my pain. It's women out here really, really struggling. That's why I'm gonna go on the I Choose You tour, because I need to see what the women is. This is a guys, come hang out with me. Let's have a good time. Women, I want to hear your thoughts tour that I'm going on. My Patreon meetups this year over the next 2 years is going to be the I Choose You tour. Because I want to hear the plight of my ladies. I want to hear what they really talking about. I might bring some special guests with me or something. I need to hear what the women that's really out here struggling in real life trying to figure it out is really going through. I want to see what they're really going through. I can't believe it because he became president of the United States of America. Dog, your husband is the president of the United States of America. Why are you even in a position to have to defend against divorce rumors in the first place?
And telling her own truth, if you will, Hallie.
What's been interesting
telling her truth.
That both of the Obamas, Michelle in particular, has been really open over the past maybe decade here about their relationships' ups and downs. Like in 2022, the former First Lady talked about how there was like a decade where she says, couldn't stand my husband when the kids were really little, when their daughters were really young. And you saw at that moment, some people were saying, man, that's so refreshing to hear somebody talk so honestly about things like couples counseling, which she wrote about in her memoir. Just last week, you had former President Obama up at, I think it was Hamilton College, saying like, I was in a deficit with my wife, so now we're doing a lot of fun things. I mean, there is a level of, I think, candid conversation from this couple that we haven't necessarily always seen from presidential, couples past.
Yeah, and the whole idea of what was happening in their marriage. And early on, she had said that she wasn't really on board to be running with him for the presidency. And in a podcast just recently, her brother and she talked about the fact that he had to convince his sister that she should do this for her husband and she should do this for their family. And
I think that sometimes, honestly, and again, we're going to talk about this on After Hours tonight. I think that sometimes, maybe some women wear out their welcome, and that's one of the reasons why you gotta replace them. I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers with that one. Don't worry, I'm gonna expound on it on After Hours. Maybe when you take that woman and she was dusty when you met her, and then eventually you got to she was able to benefit off your greatness. Maybe. And this is not for people that have, listen, I'll never break up the family if you have small children. Your children need to be at least 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. They need to at least be getting ready to get out of high school. They need to be in college. They need to be something, right? Don't mess up. Don't break up the family. I'm not telling y'all to go break up your families. But what I am saying is that maybe when you get to a certain point and a woman has been coddled and blessed, taken care of, but they still whining after a certain amount of time, maybe that's time to make some adjustments, because they forgot what it was like being inside of the ghetto. What do y'all think? Just a thought. Just a thought. Maybe at some point, because they don't really realize the privilege that they are blessed with and how they're being taken care of, like a Michelle Obama, maybe at some point it then becomes conducive for both people to start evaluating, hey, wait a minute. So you're not happy with the fact. I seen it happen with Jada Pinkett. We was just talking about Will Smith about a year or two ago about Jada Pinkett. Jada Pinkett was so dusty without Will Smith. She's over there crying in the mansion. Oh my God. Next thing you know, she with August Alsina trying to find herself and shaving her head bald. Like, okay, you know what? Maybe it's some time to make some adjustments. Maybe it's time to make a little bit of an adjustment, because whatever it is that you going through, you so far removed from where it is that you came from, and you making up problems just so you can feel like you're human. Maybe you need to go and step over that way a little bit. We seen it with Jada Pinkett. We seen it with Michelle Obama. We see it regularly. A lot of women become so comfortable in their surroundings that they don't really have anything to do that's meaningful. Next thing you know, you see Jada Pinkett creating a band, or she over here hanging out with Queen Latifah, or, just doing dumb stuff instead of living a soft life. I think that when some women get to the point to when they live in a soft life, a lot of times they forgot that was the thing that they asked for, and so they start making up problems because they want to go back to the streets. Still talking about Tupac. Honestly, that's my initial opinion.
So she did, and to what you were just speaking about, we have a little bit of the former president talking about the fact that she's done a lot of things for him, and it might be his turn to turn the tables. Take a listen.
Look, I was in a deep deficit with my wife, so I have been trying to dig myself out of that hole by doing...
She never gonna let him live down that he wound up becoming president for 2 terms. She ain't never gonna let him live it down. So now he's in a deep... Listen, think about it. He's the only president. You would never hear this from Trump. You would never hear this from Bush. You would never hear it from... Clinton was getting head in the White House, and he ain't never even acknowledged it. He still ain't never acknowledged that I was getting head from that woman. He'll never acknowledge. You'll never hear from the first Bush. You'll never hear from any Carter. He just died. None of them will sit here and make apologies to the public saying that they were in a deficit. Oh my God. Oh my God. You will never hear this from any other president in the world. But leave it to our women. Not talking about smiling with no mustache, talking about he was in a deep deficit with his wife. Hey, listen, I got to make it up for the rest of my life. I got to be there. Him, Judge Mathis, all of them. All of them is in the same boat. All of them. At that point, I think that you need to take your 60 and trade her in for 2 30s at that point. Take your 60 and trade her in for 2 30s, because I ain't tripping. I ain't lying. Real talk. I ain't lying. Shout out to Robert Banks. I appreciate you for holding me down. At that point, you take the 60-year-old woman and you trade her in for 2 30s.
Occasionally fun things.
So more of that. We might see more of the former president doing that work to dig himself out of that hole, Hallie.
Rahima Ellis, thank you very much.
So, anyways, Michelle Obama is out here fighting divorce rumors, going on a podcast tour with her trash podcast, trying to create something out of nothing. And there it is. Tomorrow's Friday. You think we're going to crash out on Friday, y'all? Look at your neighbor and say 2 30s. Y'all like that math? Oh, man, oh, man. Cat Eyes, you don't like these comments? I love these comments, Cat Eyes. Y'all think I'm a crash out? What's the over-under on crash out on Fridays? I don't think I'm a crash out. I think I'm a maintain frame. I'm not going to get passionate about anything that we talk about, and we're going to continue to hold it down. A.R. Smitty says, Big Mike says she wants all of the smoke. Y'all so evil. DJ Ace Production says, while the past president's wives beside Hillary understood the assignment. I don't know, bro. Mr. Joe says, Michelle is insufferable. I see why Bathhouse Barry is with Jennifer Aniston. 392Q says she got to go to the hood like B-Rad off of Malibu's Most Wanted. Fake drive-bys, King, Kinda Pings. Get back humbled. Yeah, I'm with it. I think sometimes you got to let them be out there. Let them have whatever it is that they want to have. Let them have it. Let them have it. Let them have it. If you can get a 10, get 2 5s. Oh,